welcome to the Growth Whispers podcast. I'm Kevin Lawrence, and this is my co-host, Brad Giles. And we talk about everything relating to helping leaders in small to medium businesses and their teams build enduring great businesses. So how you doing today, Brad?
I'm pretty good, thank you. It's been a good week. It's getting a bit colder here in Australia, but overall, doing really good.
Awesome. Well, it's also been a good week here, and it's getting a bit warmer here in Canada, so that's making us kind of happy here. So what do we have to going on today? What are we talking about today, Brad?
Today, we're talking about zombie jobs. Zombie jobs. Are there any zombies within any businesses that may be a bit of an issue? Not necessarily all businesses, but we're just going to talk and play with that subject. Talk about there's zombie jobs because of the government stimulus. And then we're going to talk about some interesting comments from a guy called Tobias Lutke, who's the founder of Shopify, who said that we're living in 2030. And what does that really mean? And what does that mean for leaders and leadership teams? So we're going to talk about those things. It should be interesting.
Yeah, you kind of had me at zombies. I mean, talking about zombies and business, and there's enough weird stuff going on in the world right now, and I think zombies would be interesting. So why don't you kick us off with this thing around zombie jobs, Brad? What the heck is that, and how do we get one?
Well, zombies are the dead people who are walking. Okay, that's the concept behind it. But when we apply that economically and we think about what's happening, certainly in Australia, in Canada, in the States, I think in the UK, around a lot of the world, is the government is providing stimulus to keep people in jobs, which is completely the right thing to do. I don't disagree with that. But one day that stimulus will end. And with that, what happens? And are there people who are employed in businesses at the moment that when that stimulus ceases, we won't be able to afford to pay them? So they're zombies. They're walking around. They're only here as long as the government stimulus keeps getting paid, because the business model hasn't evolved enough, or we're not profitable enough that we're going to be able to afford to pay them when, I'm not going to say things go back to normal, but when the government stimulus stops. So that's the general concept around the zombie jobs.
So you're saying these are people, it's not that they're walking around doing nothing, but they in normal economic situations, they wouldn't have kept their job because the company can't afford to have them.
Yeah.
But because of the stimulus, they've had them. And depending on what happens, if the business gets back to a strong position, they might keep those people. But you're kind of asking the question of, well, what happens if the business doesn't get back to a higher revenue level and the stimulus goes away? Now what? It's kind of what you're suggesting.
Well, we know the stimulus will end. There's massive debt that's being accrued for the right reasons. But it feels a bit like at the moment we're just in this weird, I don't know, it's still period where
it's like a false reality for many people. It is. It's like, and we're, as you said, we're in this, and what's interesting with a lot of the companies that we work with, they're being pretty darn real. I mean, we're having some really real, tough, gritty conversations about these things. And when you say that, I'm wondering, like, do we have zombie jobs in the companies I work with? I'm sure there's going to be a couple here and there. But the organizations we work with have put in some serious disciplines over the years to make sure they address the toughest issues. And again, I'm not saying that just because we work with someone, they're not going to have slipped into this, which I know some people would, but I know people are, no matter what. Like, we don't need to compare here, but there are people, because like, why do you think people don't want to make those tough decisions? Like, why do people hold on to people when a company or an economy can't support it? I mean, it's the opposite. What the governments want us to keep people employed. In many ways, we do. We want to keep, but a lot of businesses can't. But for the ones that do, what do you think is different about them?
Imagine you just got punched in the face by Mike Tyson. Now, there is an element of stop and compose myself in
Yep.
shock and just doing nothing else, just holding it all. And I think that that's a bit what I think about when I think about what are people feeling at the moment. The shock, the fear, everything has maybe subsided, and they're just in this stillness, this lull.
Yep.
And within that, they're just like, do you know what? We're still here. We're so busy, we're exhausted, we're still here, and like, let's just keep going, and we'll worry about that later. But if all of the government stimulus stopped today, where would you be? Where would your organization be is really the question. And in order to be cash flow positive or profitable in some form, how many people would need to go? Those people that need to go are the zombie jobs. And we're not even talking about A players or B players or anything like that. We're just saying, like, you've got to get your business model profitable. There is a massive wave on the horizon that's coming to your business, and that wave is the end of the government stimulus. Not for everybody, but for certain organizations.
Yeah, and I think, you made me think of a question as you were speaking there, Brad, is really looking at, how would your business be without the stimulus? Is it an icing on the cake that still allows you to have a reasonable profit? Or is it what's allowing you to hang on by the ends of your fingernails? And if you're hanging on by the ends of your fingernails because of the stimulus, what's your plan when it's gone? I mean, that's a great scenario. And again, lots of companies we work with, we're treating it as a bonus in many cases, i.e. it allows the company to be a bit healthier and soften the blow. But I think that's a real reality check, because we can forget that it's almost like living off credit cards. Some people think credit cards are cash. Some people actually don't get the idea that they're accruing a future liability, and because people around them are used to living with a lot of credit card debt. So in many ways, you're building up a bit of you're building up a debt inside your own business. So I think it's a great way to look at it. Without the stimulus, how would you be? And based on different scenarios, what do you need to do to be able to stand well on your own 2 feet? Kind of like the teenager that's getting kicked out of the house sooner or later. They got to learn how to get their own place and pay their own bills.
Oh yeah. Now, we're in the business of planning. So we're often going to be motivated to tell people you've got a plan, but now is the time to, well, for anybody, now is the time to plan. We know that this stuff will end, and we know that it's propping up a lot of zombie jobs. And with that, if we don't do something about it now, if we don't begin to plan, maybe that means that we need to take new marketing activities. Maybe that means that we need to cut some of our external or superfluous products that we sell or services. But whatever it is, like, you get one chance to solve this kind of problem, and it's really now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's about being prepared for what comes, and it's one of many scenarios people need to be considering.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I was talking with a CEO, couple CEOs today about this exact thing, but it's also planning for if there's a second wave coming of this health issue and this virus thing, and or a second a real feeling more of an impact from the economic change. There's the removal of the stimulus, but then there's what happens because of the removal of the stimulus for the businesses that can't hang on any longer. So preparing for those different scenarios is just good, responsible business, and being able to look forward so you're not shocked and you don't end up in a horrible place because of all of this.
Because there are a lot of people. And so I guess my thinking is around zombie jobs. If that government funding stopped, what are the zombie jobs, and what do you have to do about it? Because if you don't do something about it now, and it doesn't mean firing people necessarily at all, but if you don't begin to take action, take responsibility, step into quadrant 2, which is working on things that are important and not urgent, and getting some of these problems solved, very, very quickly, this government funding will begin to dry up or it will be dropped.
Yep. And what's interesting, and just kind of a last thought I have on this is that, for two of the CEOs today, we're talking about running lean and mean. And because they're starting to see uptick in a number of the businesses. But the strategy a number of people are taking is not hiring back just yet. Like waiting, because there's a whole bunch of other wild and weird things that are bubbling on horizon. Yeah. And we don't know what that is yet. So the strategy is, how do we take, and without hiring back a lot of people, see how we can handle it? One, it might force the teams to be more efficient and find a better way. But two, the last thing we want to do is bring people back and then let them go again. Like that's devastating for a lot of people. And so it's a real aggressive on the revenue and growth piece, but conservative on the cost and the hiring back piece, which is unfortunate for those people that'll be looking for jobs. But it's uncertain times, and you need to be a little bit more cautious so you can keep the company strong for the future.
Well, I've probably, like you, I've been in many situations where we've had to let people go in organizations. And the overriding thing is that we've got a responsibility to the people who keep their jobs. We've got a responsibility to creditors. We've got a responsibility to banks. We need to do the right thing. That's the essence of governance, right? We need to make sure that we are responsibly running this company so that we can pay our bills and we can meet our obligations. It would be irresponsible to not pursue that line of thinking. I think it's really important to maintain responsibility in this context.
Yep, I agree 100%. So why don't we, anything else you have on that, Brad, or can we move on to our next topic here?
No, I was going to ask you about a chap called Tobias.
Yes. Yeah, and from a little company, a little Canadian founded company called Shopify. And for those of you that aren't familiar, Shopify is basically a back-end shopping cart, in simple terms, shopping cart system for you to be able to set up a store, sell your products. They can help you to manage the taxes, the logistics, and all kinds of things. So it's a storefront software, so you can have your own, mini Amazon, and build your own little mini empire.
Yeah.
And they're very successful company. My son and I have used it in one of the ventures that actually used it in quite a couple of different ventures that he's tried. Easy peasy, just awesome system for, small to medium-sized companies that use it as a back-end platform.
Yeah.
So
easy to plug
tell
in,
us about the story.
easy to use. Well,
very easy to use.
Something really caught my eye this week. And Tobias Lutke, the founder of Shopify, was quoted as saying, everyone now has 2020 quality software in basically a 2030 world. So everyone's software just got 10 years worse given the requirements and the needs of the customer. And that's the end of the quote. He didn't say and.
Yep.
It made me think, what has this pandemic done and why would he do that? So what had happened 10 years ago, e-commerce as a percentage of retail sales was about 5%, just over 5% in the States. 2019, it went to 16%. And then from there, in the past couple of months, let's say 2 or 3 months, it's gone to 27% as a percentage of all retail sales. Okay, so what is the parallel that he's drawing is it should have gotten to 27% in about 10 years, but it's gotten there now. So the people's expectations, the quantity, the volume, what's happening on there, everything needs to accelerate a lot. And so that really got me thinking about it, and you and I thinking about it before this call, thinking, well, what does that mean if indeed we're now living, even maybe not in 2030, but what if we're now living in 2025? If we've just jumped 5 years because we've been living in dog years for the last few months.
Yeah, few months. Yep.
Right. And it's a lot of the trends, it's accelerated so much. So if we're now living in an accelerated or accelerating world, in terms of customer expectations, in terms of for example, the way the internet is interacting with customers and businesses. What does that mean for our companies? What does that mean for leaders? And how do we need to look at that? And so working on from that, what does it mean, our relationship with the customer? Because Shopify is great, but if it was my business, I'd be concerned about who actually owns the customer. So what are your thoughts, Kevin?
Well, his quote is interesting to start with. And if he were to say, and, obviously I wasn't in the conversation with him, but if he were to say, hey, we've gone from a world where, online sales for a lot of businesses was a small piece to where it's becoming a notable piece, getting close to, a third very soon based on that trajectory. We need to pay a lot more attention to it, and we need to be a lot more capable of transacting with our customers digitally. I'd agree 100%. But when he's saying the software isn't good enough, now he's in the business of selling software, so there's something there.
Wait. Are you saying that he's trying to sell more software?
Imagine that. Is he trying to increase the value of his company? No. But he should be pitching that, and he should be showing the gap between him and his competition. So good for him. That's probably a good marketing message. But when I know a large retailer that I worked with, and we would do some planning going back even 5 years, and we would be setting estimates in 2023 to 2025 of the percentage of our revenues we thought would be done, our transaction volume that would be done digitally versus in store. And we came up with numbers of between 30 and 50%.
Yeah.
And because, so it's like, we know the market was going there, or you should have known the market was going there. And we've leaped ahead. So, if you look at it from the context of, if you're already a pure play digital customer, obviously you're always trying to, meet your customers' needs better. But most companies aren't. Most companies are either a hybrid or they're still bricks and mortar. So if what he's saying is, hey, if you're a hybrid, you need to be set up to handle 30 to 50% of your customer transactions digitally, easily, joyfully. I think that's a very valuable point. Now, of course, you got to buy his software or someone else's software. And I think where the gap is that a lot of companies aren't set up for it. And there's a lot of companies that are still painful to deal with. Like, I buy almost everything I buy online, almost everything. Like, a couple Amazon packages showed up today, probably, and a couple from another retailer I deal with, actually a few. But they're actually all very easy to transact with. The supply chain's a little slow, except for Amazon, in terms of getting the goods. At the receiving point, there still needs to be someone there, whether it's a concierge in the building or someone at the house. So there's some things there that could probably be ironed out. But I'd argue the bigger thing for most companies is making sure you can handle 30 to 50% of your volume digitally, easily, joyfully for your customers. I think that's the real big point that a lot of people need to pay attention to.
In terms of the back-end warehousing and logistics?
The whole thing, from the customer interface, the logistics, the customer doesn't even know about them. I'm saying more, how do you easily, if I want to transact with you, how do I not have to come to a physical location? Because that's what the customer is sort of seeing. Hey, the staying at home thing is pretty easily. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Renewing auto insurance in Canada. Normally, you need to go to this place called an auto plan agent. You go into this little building, you fill out some paperwork, they fill out some paperwork, they give you a sticker, etc. Well, during this whole time, you can call. I have an agent I call. I don't go into those places, but I call my agent, or actually I text her and say, hey, can you renew this car, or whatever it happens to be? She just sends me an email attachment with the renewed policy, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
In the mail comes the little stickers you have to put on your license plate. They even put a reprieve on those. You didn't even need them. But you don't have to go to an office. It's very easily. It's actually digital. But our insurance company, it was all paper-based, but they quickly allowed it to be digital. That's a simple little thing. And it becomes that the customer experiences, it just takes notably less energy. Like, Why would I ever go back to the old way? So it's forced them to leap ahead because it shouldn't have been the way it was anyways. And I mean, there's still companies that will do invoices on pen and paper and then, fax it or something silly like that. So there's some of these mom and pops that really, really need to become, not only digitally savvy, but just the business flows digitally as well as analog.
There'll always be, we can't play to the lowest common denominator. There'll always be someone on the side of the road selling apples, right? Our audience, our very attractive audience, is much more sophisticated than that. So if we are living in 2025, what it makes me think about is who owns your customer, right? Because if the trends that we're seeing have accelerated, what that says is I expect that in 2025, there will be more fighting for the customer. So when we look at customers in this environment, let's take a small retail store in a shopping center. So, and they sell clothes. Who owns their customer? Now, they've been hit pretty hard because they've had to close the shopping center over the last few months. If they weren't inside that shopping center, the shopping center would get another shop in there and they wouldn't even care. And would people actually go to your website to buy those clothes from you? What's your relationship?
Yes. And let's say that there's a lot of them, Brad, that you can take a teen girls clothing brand. That's probably a bad example. In the past, you could take a teen girls clothing brand and put another one in, and it probably would have been okay, except in the teen girls segment, they're being influenced by influencers. And my daughter, who's a teenager, she already knows what she wants from a store before she goes because she's already making her buying decision digitally. So let's take that one out.
Yeah.
But it could be a furniture store or a whole bunch of other categories, probably a jewelry store or lots of other categories that are, we'll call it, almost becoming not commoditized, but they don't have a relationship with the customer. So it's almost like anybody would do, and many people could do the job.
Yeah. And that's been the role of the malls or the shopping centers or the commercial agents, but also the websites like Amazon, like many of these others. So if you want to survive moving forward, you've got to have a relationship with your customer. You've got to be able to, I think you've got to be able to say quantifiably, each dollar that we spend more on marketing means that we will get X number within reason of more people in store or more website visits or something like that. Like, you've got to be in control.
Yeah. You've got to understand the cost to get a new customer or to get an existing customer to come back.
And
I think what you're saying, Brad, is that like malls are almost like a platform, like Amazon is a platform. Yeah. Mall is a platform you can plug your business into. It's already got traffic and you can transact.
Yep.
And if you leave it at that, you're putting yourself at risk. Just like in Amazon. Amazon's a platform. You can list your things on platform. The problem is that the customer can become more loyal to the platform. So if you're going to play that game, you've got to find a way to build a direct relationship with your customer so their loyalty is to you first, not the platform first. That's kind of where you're getting to.
Totally. That's where the value of a business comes from. That's why for a recurring revenue model business to completely step outside of the box and then step outside of the next box, that's why for a recurring revenue model business, it's multiplied by 10 times a multiple of revenue, the valuation is a multiple of revenue, whereas a traditional business, it's a multiple of EBITDA.
Yeah, you're talking a subscription-based recurring revenue business where you got subscribers.
Because they own the customer.
Monthly subscribers. And it's also a predictable habit-forming business where they can be very, very valuable. Yes.
Definitely many other factors in there. But shopping center is a platform. Facebook is a platform. Amazon is a platform.
Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats are also platforms. And the platform is
go on.
brilliant because the platform gets to have the ownership of the customer. And it's like whoever owns the customer is like the person that's got the gold. They're king. Yeah. Because they have the relationship, they have the dollars in their hand, and they can direct it in different ways. And this is why, I think Amazon's great. Uber Eats, or we have our Canadian version, Skip the Dishes. There's lots of other ones. Yeah. Malls, all those things are great platforms where you get leverage and potential customer flow at a big price. And if you take Amazon, for example, one of our clients dabbled with Amazon very carefully, and they're an amazing retailer. Challenges with Amazon, they're also smart. They're like, hey, yes, come list your products here. And I'm one of the biggest Amazon fans. I love Amazon. I use it all the time. But the challenge is when you start selling your stuff on Amazon, they start collecting lots of data, and they can understand everything they need. At some point, when the category gets big enough, they have this thing called Amazon Basics. And what do they do for many products is they come up with a Amazon Basics version. And I'm sure they have other ones under different brand names. But then they can take the category where they're doing, $1 million a week or $10 million a week on Amazon. And then they can plug Amazon Basics in, take half the market, and make way more profit because they're taking all the margin and they're just helping to redirect the customers to their products. And, we know Amazon Basics products are good, just like in Costco has a thing called Kirkland Signature. We know they're great products. But the key is that because Amazon has already learned everything about your business because you're on their platform and they get all the data, then they can knock you off when it's time real easy. And that is their model. That is what they do on the places where they see they can make a lot of profit. I mean, good on Amazon, smart for them. Unfortunately, we're the ones that give them the data to be able to knock us off. And that's the concern about joining these platforms. It's easy, and there's a downside.
Well, a strong business owns its customers. They don't own the customers, but they own the relationship with the customers. They own the marketing process that gets them customers, and they're not on a platform. Just like you said about in-store experiences, where we had the same thing in Australia, where we've got two supermarkets, Coles and Woolworths. It started off where you could go and buy any brand of anything that you wanted from in the food category, in the packaged food category. And then over probably the last 10, maybe 15 years, little by little, we've just seen all of the home brands coming in, and you can't even get some of these other brands before. So we had a very famous tomato sauce brand here called Rosella, and that was a great example. So if you were in the Rosella leadership team and you were saying our revenues are declining because we've been living on this platform, which is the supermarket shelf, we don't really own the relationship with the customer because we can be eked out. It's a tough place to be. And I just think that you've got to own the relationship with the customer. You've got to be able to invest more in that and get more customers. Otherwise, you end up like so many of these shops are at the moment, shops and cafes and restaurants in shopping malls, and they're like, well, we aren't in control of what's happening here. It's a tough spot.
It is, and it's a convenient spot, and it's an easy thing. Like if you take a look at the example of, and there are amazing people that have built spectacular businesses on these platforms. Like for lots of people, the mall platform is spectacular and has worked very well for them. Take out the last few months. Same with Amazon and other platforms. There's people who have built outstanding businesses on these, and good for them. As long as they don't get knocked off by the platform itself, then they could continue to do very well. Obviously, many of them are probably building relationships at the same time. But the one that I'm really interested in is on this platform called Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats or whatever that food delivery last mile kind of service is the idea for these poor restaurateurs. Yeah. Because when I was starting, Skip the Dishes is really big here. I use it often. I really like it. But what's starting to happen is I want Japanese food. I love great sushi. And there's one down the road from me here that's awesome. And so when I want to order great sushi, I go there, but sometimes they're not available, whether they're closed, I think because they shut down a bit over this COVID thing. So I ordered from somewhere else. And I actually got pretty good sushi somewhere else. But the thing that concerns me, these restaurants are becoming so dependent on these platforms. I'm hearing some of them tell me 30, 40, 50% of their sales being through these delivery platforms. But then who owns the customers?
Yeah.
Because at some point, if I want sushi and my favorite sushi place isn't available, but there's another one and it's got 4.9 stars, okay. And I can get it in 30 minutes and the prices seem the same. Okay, because really it's what I want is sushi, and I want good sushi. And that's the thing that these people don't realize is once you let somebody else start to own the customer, because at the end of the day, Skip the Dishes generally is owning more and more of me and the brand is owning less. And we can have a whole discussion around cloud kitchens and how that's going to even hurt these restaurateurs even more. Now, not the luxury ones that you're not going to go to a great steakhouse. High steakhouse is probably not under threat from these delivery services. So, but I think for some of the small businesses, they don't see that they're giving away their customer, and that's the concerning part. And if they don't build the relationship another way, like my favorite sushi place doesn't know who the heck I am. They have no clue. Yeah. They have my number, my cell phone number, but that's it. They have never communicated with me, and they make great sushi. I'm concerned about them.
So let me ask you this. Let's go full circle. We spoke about Shopify being the back end. So if I've got a retail business and I've a component of that is my internet business, and I use Shopify, and we are 5 years into the future, irrespective. What is Shopify trying to do? I mean, I own the customer because they're coming to my website.
They don't own the customer. They know that a lot of people need a very solid back end to run their business, and they make their money that way. I'm sure, they might have deals with merchant companies or transactions. They would get some transaction fees. They probably got a great business model. I have not spent a huge amount of time digging into their model.
Yeah.
But they're providing a service, and it's a subscription-based service, which leads to valuation.
Great.
Yeah, so it's almost, instead of joining Amazon on their big platform, it's a platform carved up into little mini private, allows you to make your own mini private store. It's the same kind of similar back end to Amazon's, but it's not under their brand, it's under yours. It's sort of your own little white labeled mini store.
Yeah, so that's the back engine. So that's probably okay, because specifically how I defined it before was if you can spend another dollar and then connect that to we're getting more customers, but provided it's not a platform, because you could probably do that with Amazon adverts, but you've got to have that relationship with the customer, and ideally the core customer.
Yeah, and these platforms, and the reason people are drawn to them is there's active, interesting customers already there, and in many cases, it can be easier to channel them towards you versus going out in the whole web and trying to bring people to you through pay-per-click or content marketing or other types of things. So they both have pros and cons. The main thing is to understand is no matter how you're getting your sales, are you enhancing your connection and your relationship with your customer so you can build multiple transactions on a regular frequency over time? And I think that's where people miss out. Whether it's from a clothing store that doesn't have some sort of loyalty app or connection with the customer, right down to my local sushi place. Yeah. And if that local and your business could be like that sushi place, if you don't have a mechanism to keep a great relationship with your customer, you're missing an opportunity.
Yeah. It's so easy to fall into these platforms though, because their job is to make it as easy as possible to get you to rent a shop inside a shopping center or to sell on Amazon. They want that to be so seamless that it's not, it's the gateway drug. It's the thing that gets you in there. And then suddenly you'd think, well, people just keep coming past. We don't need to spend on marketing. It's something, we don't do because we make great food or whatever it is. And it's just not true. You've got to have you've got to work on those relationships to become the destination.
Yeah. But the thing on that gets me, and really, it's why I got into this space. Getting back to, my gosh, it was 30 years ago. I had a passion around some of this stuff. Is that most businesses, even when they do bring someone in, don't take amazing care of their customers.
Yeah.
Most don't. And they don't build a relationship. I'm passionate about cars and things like that. And lots of the places I've transacted with over the years, they don't follow up. And I'm a person that my probably biggest expense in my world is related to motorsports. But the lack of follow-up is shocking.
Why?
And the amount of people that I've done business with that could probably do more business with me, but they don't show up in my mind because they don't follow up instead of some crappy generic email. But they don't continue to try to enhance the relationship with one of their core customers who spends above average amounts on their products and services. And that's forgetting technology and forgetting all this stuff. It's the basic of business where people don't enhance and build those relationships for the future. Go ahead, Brad.
I'm going to give a quick example around that and then ask you, why do you think that people don't follow up with customers? So on Thursday, we developed a leaking tap in the kitchen. So you turn on the tap and it leaks everywhere inside the cupboard. So we can't use it. Located a person on Thursday evening. He said, yep, I'll definitely be out tomorrow. No response on the Friday, which was the following day. And I SMS'd him. I sent him a text message on Saturday. What's going on? Oh yeah, we'll definitely be there today. Didn't come on Saturday. Didn't come on Monday. And today's Tuesday. And yeah, he's texted me today saying, yeah, we will probably be there tomorrow morning. Now this is, the worst part of it is that he promised me, I selected him because he said he'd be there the following day. Yep, we can definitely do it tomorrow. No problem was his word. And then as we've gone through, each time it's been this succession of promises. So that was just a quick story that I've had this week around trying to get a plumber to sort something out. But why do you think that people don't look after their customers?
Because they're not very intelligent.
Or because they just don't care.
They don't get it. It's like they don't get that you, for a leaky tap, are worth $10,000 to them, at least maybe 25.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need a new hot water heater one day. You're going to need something else. You're going to have a toilet that blows a leak one day. You have friends. You have family who also want a good, reliable plumber. They forget that they think of you as $149, not $25,000.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, and that's the basic of business. And it's shocking. And yet when that happens, people like us who have choice, we line up. And I won't name the company, but I have an opposite experience of a motorcycle company, of a brand that I vowed I would never buy a motorcycle from. And based on my first experience with them, it blew my mind. In the end, I ended up buying something from that brand. I just had it serviced last week. What's that?
Was it a Vespa?
It's very close. In my mind, it was like a Vespa. Anyways, going back, I called them to book a service appointment. They came to my place and picked it up. They said the guy will call you at 11 a.m. when he leaves the dealership, and he'll be there within about 25 to 30 minutes. And then, which exactly happened. They serviced it. They gave me updates. They followed up with me to tell me it was done early. And then they said, when would you like it delivered? I said, Tuesday at between 10 and noon would be great. They said, excellent. He will call you at 10 to confirm that he's leaving. And then he comes and drops it off. I paid the bill over the phone. They put a copy of the receipt in the bike when they returned it. It was like, can I give you more money to take care of what I need? Like it was beautiful. And then of course they did a nice thank you, follow-up survey to make sure that I was happy. But like making it come and pick up my bike and service it for. Now they charged me for that service. I was happy to pay for it.
Yeah.
But doing what they said they would do, when they said they would do it, doing all the work, everything was handled. It was just like, how do I get this more often?
Yeah.
That's a company that's wildly successful and you can feel it. But most people are truly, if you look at the plumber, he's just trying to get through the day. like he's just trying to fix all the people that are yelling and screaming at him because of their problems and stay ahead of it and get home to his family. Like, I understand that, but that guy will be doing the same thing over and over again if you can't find ways to really take great care of people so they stay loyal and return. And it's a big missing thing in business. That's why we're real big on this thing called the Net Promoter System, to get good customer feedback.
Yeah.
So you listen to the feedback and you improve what you're doing for the next time. But that's not how small businesses usually think. Hence, that's why we're there.
A lot of them, maybe not everyone, yeah, but a lot of them don't. So
yeah, there's awesome ones, but the ones that struggle, they generally struggle with the same issues. And again, it's not rocket science. Hey, your customer has a need. Can you meet their need in a way where they're thrilled? And can you stay in touch and continue to build a relationship so you do more business with them? I mean, it ain't darn rocket science.
So what's the tangible takeaway for the listener here? We've discussed this concept that, we're living 5 or 10 years in the future, which is debatable, but that customer needs have accelerated. And then we've discussed the concept of people needing to have a tighter relationship with their customer. People, leaders needing to customers being more important at this point. So what's the tangible takeaway? How can we kind of condense all this into some words of wisdom, as you would assume the lotus position?
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking the essence is, no matter how you sell or market, how are you building enduring high value relationships with your customers? That's it.
Yeah.
And there's a model that I came up with probably 20 years ago to help think about this. And it was called CARE, C-A-R-E. Continuously appreciate your customer. So always appreciate them for being your customer. Yeah. Remind them of the ways that you can help them and others, and then educate them. Help them become more knowledgeable about what it is you do. So if you keep caring for your customers, most people don't. But if you continue to do that, it keeps you calibrated with them and paying attention to their needs. And in this case, how do you make it more frictionless to transact with you? Don't make them come in and sign papers. Don't make them touch paper. Like, how do you make it more frictionless for them to have the benefit of your great product or your great service? And I think that ties back to Mr. Tobias, I think, if I pronounce it properly, was kind of getting to you. There's still a lot of friction in a lot of the systems that companies have. A lot.
And I think that also can connect with zombies, with zombie jobs. So if you've got zombie jobs and you've got 3 to 5 months left, how can you connect and care, to use your acronym, with your customers more? How can you build stronger relationships? Because you've still got the time, but you won't have in a while. So coming back to that kind of that concept that if you've got zombies walking around your business who won't be there when the job stimulus ends, think about the customers. How can you serve the customers better? How can you care for them better?
And technology can be a way to make things easier and sometimes replace a zombie or two.
Indeed. So I think we might be good to close it out. So this has been the Growth Whisperers. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I'm Brad Giles, and this is Kevin Lawrence, my co-host. I can be found at evolutionpartners.com.au. And Kevin, I think you can be found at lawrenceandco.com. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Or at least a virtual image of me and our firm and what we do. I don't know if I'll actually be there.
Right? You've got to care for your customers better.
Yeah, I know.
So thank you, everyone. It's been great to chat. Thanks, Kevin. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.